So in a previous video, we have covered who is an PP, means public prosecutor, who can appoint a public prosecutor, what should be the requirement, what should be the age limit, with consultation of whom PP can be appointed. All these things we have covered in our previous lecture. So today we are going to understand arrest of persons under BNSS, which plays a very important role when it comes to MCQ. So let's move into section number 35, which talks about when police may arrest without warrant. So basically, the common answer, we all know that a person or a police cannot arrest a person without warrant. But also there are some situation given on what basis, on what situation the police may arrest without warrant. Any police officer may, without an order from a magistrate and without a warrant, arrest any person who commits in the presence of a police officer a cognizable offence. So this is given in 35(1) clause A. It says if a person is committing a cognizable offence in the presence of a police officer, in such matter the warrant is not required, the police may arrest such a person. Next we have against whom a reasonable complaint has been made or credible information has been received or a reasonable suspicion exists that he has committed a cognizable offence punishable with imprisonment for a term which may be less than 7 years and which may extend to 7 years, whether with or without fine, if the following conditions are satisfied. So these are the very key points of this clause, that is, if the police officer has a reasonable complaint, if a complaint has been made upon that particular person and that is reasonable, it is credible information, the police officer may have such information regarding that a person that he is committed an offence and also received reasonable suspicion, that the police officer has enough suspicion over that particular person. On such situation also the police officer may arrest a person without a warrant. So these are the situation has been given. The police officer has reason to believe on the basis of such complaint, information or suspicion that such person has committed the said offence. So these are the key points that have been mentioned for the police officer to evaluate things. The police officer is satisfied that such arrest is necessary. When the police officer is get satisfied that this person should be arrested to prevent such person from committing any further offense. So these are the reasons. So it is necessary to arrest the person because if the police officer own arrests that particular person, he can do the same thing again in future. So that is the reason. Then it has for proper investigation of the offense. For example, A has committed a crime and A is the main suspect of that particular crime. So A's presence or A's investigation is necessary to carry forward that particular case. In such manner also the police officer can arrest to prevent such person from causing the evidence of the offense or disappear or tampering with such evidence in any manner. Again, a reason that if the person, the police officer, don't arrest A or the person guilty, he may destroy all the evidence relating to that particular case. So that is another reason. To prevent such person from making any inducement, threat or promise to any person acquainted with the facts of the case so as to dissuade him from disclosing such facts to the court or to the police officer. This is basically talking about the witnesses. So this person may cause any harm or may promise the witness who has witnessed the particular scene or the crime. Then we have as unless such person is arrested, the presence in the court whenever required cannot be ensured. Another reason for arresting such person is whenever the court will be requiring the presence of such person, they only voluntarily available to the court. So that is another reason to arrest such a person. So that is the kind of situation or reason has been given in section 35 clause 1b. Then we have provided that the police officer shall, in all cases where the arrest of a person is not required under the provisions of the subsection, record the reasons in writing not for making the arrest. So, if all the reasons are there, but still the police officer is not arresting such a person, then the reason the police officer has to give in the written format. Then we have against whom credible information has been received that he has committed a cognizable offence punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to more than 7 years, whether with or without fine or with death sentence, and a police officer has reason to believe on the basis of that information that such person has committed the said offence. So these are the reason that on what basis the person can be arrested. Still the police didn't arrest him. Then also he need to give his justification in written format. Who has been proclaimed as an offender either under the Sanhita or by order of the state government order. When this particular person is already declared guilty by the court, still the police officer is not arresting this person. Then we have in whose possession anything is found which may reasonably be suspected to be stolen property and who may reasonably be suspected or having committed an offense with reference to such thing. For example, A is a laborer and in his house we find uh, valuable diamonds, gold, and that is suspicious because a person whose income is coming from labor, how come he can earn golds and diamonds in such quantity? That is also another reason to arrest such person. Then we have who obstructs a police officer while in the execution of his duty or who has escaped or attempts to escape from lawful custody. So this is another reason on what basis the police officer may arrest, that is who has been proclaimed as an offender, who is already declared guilty by the court or by order in whose position this is got who obstruct a police officer while in the execution duty. So this says that when a police officer is in his duty and any person bewaja bekar is trying to obstruct him from doing his duty, that is another reason that the police officer may arrest him without an warrant. Bewaja, the person is doing his duty, why you are entering your leg or nose into his work, so obviously he will arrest. Then we have who is reasonably suspected of being a deserter from any of the armed forces of the union. If that person is a deserter of the armed union or the union, that is another reason on what basis without arrest that can be um, arrested by the police officer. Who has been concerned or against whom a reasonable complaint has been made or credible information has been received or a reasonable suspicion exists of his having been concerned in any act committed at any place out of India, which, if committed in India, would have been punishable as an offence. And for so, this is another situation on what basis a person can be arrested, which is under any law relating to extradition or otherwise liable to be apprehended or detained in custody in India. Then we have who, being a released convict, commits a breach of any rule make under subsection 5 of section 94 or so this says A was proven guilty. He has also, saza kat kiya, so he is done with his punishment. But you know, in some situation, the court says or the police says that you cannot move out of the territory of India, or there are such rule mentioned. But in any case, if that person breached any rule that is meant for him to follow, on such basis also the person can be arrested. For whose arrest any requisition, whether written or oral, has been received from any another police officer, provided that the requisition specifies the person to be arrested and the offence or other cause for which the arrest is to be made, and it appears therefrom from that person might lawfully be arrested without a warrant by the officer who issued the requisition. So this particularly says, for example, I am from Assam, I have committed a crime in Telangana, but if Assam police or the Telangana police by the mode of requisition send a letter, whether it's written or formal, says that I have committed a crime in that particular state and therefore directs the police officer from that district to take action on such basis or such person can be arrested by the police officer. So these are the 10 certain situations on what basis a police officer may arrest a person without having a warrant from the magistrate. Next we have subject to the provision of section 39, no person concerned in a non-cognizable offence or against whom a complaint has been made or credible information has been received or reasonable suspicion exists of his having so concerned shall be arrested except under a warrant or order of a magistrate. So after 36 we should have 39 in 36 in order, but okay. Basically 39 talks about if a person denies to give his name and address to the police officer and gives something false For example, if a police officer asking me what is my name, and instead of saying my name, I'm saying I'm Deepika Padukone, I'm married to Ranveer Singh, I live in Mumbai. So these are the false information I'm giving to the police officer. On such basis also the police officer may arrest. Next we have, the police officer shall in all cases where the arrest of a person is not required under subsection 1 issue a notice directing the person against whom a reasonable complaint has been made or credible information has been received or a reasonable suspicion exists that he has committed a cognizable offence to appear before him or at such other place as may be specified in the notice. It says if all the reason satisfies and still the police officer not arresting the person, they can issue a notice by saying that do not do this in future. If you breach so, we'll be arresting you. So that can also happen. Where such a notice is issued to any person, it shall be the duty of that person to comply with the terms of the notice. As I said, if there is such rules mentioned that you cannot move out of the territory of India, it is the duty of that person who is about to get arrested to fulfill all the duties or the instruction mentioned in that particular notice. Where such person complies and continues to comply with the notice, he shall not be arrested in respect of the offence referred to in the notice unless for reasons to be recorded the police officer is of the opinion that he ought to be arrested. So in case if he is following all the rules, all the necessary things, he is not getting arrested. In case the police officer feels that he has violated certain rules and there are enough credibility or enough information for him to get arrested, then the police officer can also arrest such person. Then you have where such person at any time fails to comply with the terms of the notice or is unwilling to identify himself, the police officer may, subject to such orders as may have been passed by a competent court in his behalf, arrest him for the offence mentioned in the notice. In case the court gives order to arrest such person, the police officer can arrest such person. No arrest shall be made without prior permission of the officer. So this is basically talking about in what cases the arrest needs a special provision. No arrest shall be made without prior permission of the officer not below the rank of the deputy superintendent of police in case of an offence. If there is an offence which is punishable for not less than 3 years, whose punishment is 3 years given in the act, such person is infirm, who is sick or is weak by health, or is above 60 years of age, or his age is above 60. In such cases, the police officer cannot directly go and arrest that person. In order to arrest that particular person, the police officer need to take a prior permission of the officer not below the rank of deputy superintendent of police. In such cases, if such person is above 60 plus age or is sick, in such person or in such situation, the police officer need to take permission from the police officer whose rank is of deputy superintendent of police. So this is basically clause section 35 of BNSS, which talks about arrest of person on what reasons, on what situation the police without a warrant can arrest a person, and in what other circumstances on what the police needs a prior permission from his superior officers. So in this video we have covered a very important topic of BNSS. So hope you found this video worth watching. Soon we'll be meeting with another such topics. Till then, do share and subscribe. You find this video worth watching. We'll be meeting soon with another video. Thank you for watching the video.